Alright, Potterheads, check this one out. This was the wand of Albus Dumbledore before he got the Elder Wand. And if you've been keeping track, that means I now have all the wands of pretty much the important characters in this Fantastic Beasts series. Dumbledore's wand, Newt Scamander's wand, Grindelwald's wand before he got the Elder Wand, and of course, the Elder Wand itself. I love this thing. I've had it for years. Well, technically it's my brother's, but he lets me use it. Alright, so spoiler talk for Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. It was inevitable because, you know, Potterhead. So let's get started. Bum bum ba-dum bum dum da 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 da. So the movie starts out with actually a pretty cool escape scene. It's Grindelwald's escape from, the American Ministry of Magic. You discover that character Abernathy, who was in a couple of scenes in the first movie, I don't know if he was a spy all along or if he was one of the guards who was persuaded by Grindelwald to work for him. But he's now working for Grindelwald and he helps him escape from that prison. And that thestral chase, like that whole scene, I thought it was a really great intro for Grindelwald. And when he's inside that carriage and he picks up that little chupacabra type thing, he's like, "I know, Antonio." And then he's like, "So needy." And he just tosses it out. I was like, oh, okay. And then he drops that guy out of the carriage and then he escapes. And that's the intro to the movie. But can we just talk about baby Nifflers for just a second? Please, because they are so adorable. Oh my god, I want a baby Niffler. They're so cute. Like, I never thought baby Groot was all that adorable. I never thought Porgs were that adorable. But baby Nifflers, oh yeah. I want like 12. And they're so funny. I love that moment where like one of those like unpops a champagne, it just flies past Newt in slow motion, all like, who didn't crack up at that? It was funny. And Jacob Kowalski is back. Now, this is one of the few things in this film where I call bullshit on. I mean, I love the character, don't get me wrong, but I probably honestly would have been fine if he didn't come back for this entire series, because his story was kind of wrapped up in the first movie. Well, kind of. They did leave it open, but like if he just remained obliviated and then got to be a baker, he had his own bakery, I think that would have been a good story to just wrap up. Let's move on to bigger things. Because like the explanation for him being back, well, I mean, I thought you were supposed to be obliviated. I know. But it didn't work because Oblivion is only supposed to do bad memories and I didn't have any. Okay. If you say so. I call bullshit. I do love his intro in this movie though. He just sees Newt and he's all like, "Hey!" Again, that was hilarious. And regarding Jacob and Queenie's situation, I feel for it. I really do. Queenie wants to get married, but they can't because Jacob doesn't want to because of the laws, which that's a responsible thing right there. Jacob's being responsible. I do feel for them, but I didn't really feel that they've been in love for the past 9 months. That's how long it's been since the last movie in this one. And I didn't feel it because that's not where the first movie ended. The first movie ended on, oh, maybe they'll get back together. Maybe Jacob recognizes Queenie. But when they pick up in this movie, they've been like together for 9 months. We didn't know that, so that's why I didn't feel it. And there are some other characters who are back from the first one in this movie who I feel did not really need to be. Like Credence, for example. It's the same kind of thing. Oh, I thought he was gone at the end of the first one, but no, he's back. Again, though, there was that little sliver of Obscurial that kind of got away at the end of the first one. I mentioned that in my spoiler review of the first one, and I said, oh, maybe he'll be back. So he's back. All right. So I just kind of contradicted myself. It could have been written better, though. I'll say that. And Nagini in this movie really did nothing for me. I mean, she is beautiful. My god, Claudia Kim is gorgeous, and she's absolutely stunning in this movie. I'll admit it. She's a silent, innocent type. I guess that's enough for me to like her character. I do like her character, but she really did nothing in the movie. That's what disappointed me. She's a maledictus. She will someday be forced to become a snake permanently. That doesn't really have any relevance to the story. Again, they could have done away with that whole Nagini tie-in, make her some other girl, but if they did that, she wouldn't be important anyway. So it's kind of a no-win situation. Here's hoping Nagini has further development in the later films. So Newt Scamander finds out that Tina is in Paris, and he's like, I got the hots for her, so I gotta find her. So he and Jacob go to Paris, and when they get there, Newt straight up goes into detective mode from the Batman Arkham games. He like casts this spell, and the scene from the previous night or whatever starts playing before him like a tape. You gotta wonder, how much magic are we gonna see before it just starts seeming like cheating? However, that thing he did with this wand was pretty cool. Like, he held it to his ear, and then the end like grew into some sort of microphone type thing. I was like, only Newt Scamander's wand would be able to do that. It was really unique. It's just seemed really in character. I liked it. Speaking of things I liked in this movie though, I loved seeing Hogwarts again. My god. Just that opening wide shot coming over the hill, and they had Hedwig's theme queued right up. It was perfect. Yeah, we cheered when that came on. It was awesome. And we see Jude Law as Albus Dumbledore. He's calm and collected, and I still really love Jude Law in the role. However, we also see a young Professor McGonagall, played by Irish actress Fiona Glasgow. And while I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Huh, young McGonagall. She's kind of attractive. But then I got home and I read some complaints from die-hard Potterheads, and I did not know know this, but apparently McGonagall wasn't even supposed to be born yet. This movie takes place in 1927. According to the actual lore, McGonagall was born in 1935. Oops. I guess that means this movie is officially retconning. Oh, not good. Not good at all. That being said, I like seeing McGonagall in this movie. But there is one thing in official lore that this movie really hints at. When Dumbledore's talking with Leta Lestrange, she's like, "You haven't had a brother die." Dumbledore replies, "In my case, it was my sister." Right when I heard that, I was like, yeah, it was. And I want the later movies to touch on this, but in case they don't, I'm gonna mention it here now. The death of Ariana Dumbledore is a pretty big deal in the lives of Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald, and Albus's brother, Aberforth. See, Albus and Gellert were really close friends. They were in love, which was actually touched on in this film. Kind of. But when Albus decided, hey, I'm not gonna go insane, there was a three-way duel between him and his brother Aberforth. They were teaming up against Grindelwald, and that three-way duel ended with the death of Ariana Dumbledore. There's actually a fan film on YouTube right now. I'll put a link in the description because it's actually a really good one. That fan film is the three-way duel. So if you want to watch it, feel free to. It's pretty cool. And it is an important plot point concerning Dumbledore and Grindelwald, so I have to assume that the later films will touch on it. Probably the next one, if I had to guess. And yeah, when Dumbledore looks into the mirror of Erised, he sees Grindelwald and he sees the younger versions of themselves. They're staring deep into each other's eyes. They're locking hands. I was like, okay, I mean, they're not gonna say it outright, and they're not gonna have them, like, kiss or anything. That'd be too much. Them locking hands is enough for me, I guess. I mean, when you look into the mirror of Erised, and you see another person looking back at you, the mirror of Erised shows you the deepest, most desperate desire of your heart. If you see another person in that mirror, that has to be love. Can't be anything else. One thing I straight up did not care for in this movie was Nicholas Flamel. I felt like that was just shameless fan service. Like, why did it have to be Nicholas Flamel? Why couldn't it be some other dude? Like, what was he doing in Paris? And I knew they were going to take it even further. If we're going to have Nicholas Flamel in this movie, then we're going to see the Sorcerer's Stone. And sure enough, he opens the cupboard and there it is, glowing and all. I literally said out loud, I was like, there it is. It's just straight up shameless. Ugh. But when Newt finally finds Tina, I love this scene. They're in the French Ministry of Magic and they're in the archives, and Newt's trying to figure out what he's gonna say to her. He's like, your eyes really are like, and he's like, I'm not supposed to say it. I liked the scene because it was cute and it was funny, but at the same time I was like, come on, just kiss already. My god, you both want it, just do it. Again, they're gazing into each other's eyes, and Tina's even tearing up a little bit, which is kind of overdramatic for my taste. And how did she know he was gonna say salamanders? Salamander eyes. Is that supposed to be romantic? I bet that line would work on a girl who's a Potterhead. Someone test it out for me, see if it works. Comment down below. But then we get to what I call the pointless exposition. My god, this is what gave me the headache. Is when they meet up with Yusuf Kama, who is another character who really did not have to be in the movie. The whole mix-up with him and Leta Lestrange and Credence Barebone trying to figure out his identity. We get this weird story about how, like, his ancestors or someone, I don't even remember most of it. Like, the story of how Leta Lestrange was born, and then, like, his father married someone else and had Corvus Lestrange, who I guess was supposed to be Credence's true identity, but it ends up not being. And then Leta's like, no, that's not it. This is what really happened. And then we get the story about how when she was young and her brother was like a baby and he wouldn't stop crying, so she just wanted him to shut up for a few seconds, so she swapped him for another baby when they were on the ship and it was sinking, and so she accidentally killed her brother just because she wanted him to shut up. I'm sorry, Leta, you're likable, I guess, enough, but that is not cool. No, you're not likable anymore. That was a real douche move. So after that really clunky exposition scene that gave me my headache, we get to Grindelwald's big speech, and this is actually a cool scene. Like, the movie went back and forth between, oh, I like this, I hate this, I like this, I don't like this. But Grindelwald's giving his speech, Johnny Depp gives a really good performance, and we learned that Grindelwald does have visions of the future. He's what is known in the wizarding world as a seer. So he brings up this skull hookah bong thing, which I think looks pretty cool. I don't smoke ever, but that thing looks kind of cool. And he shows this crowd ultimately a vision of World War II, which I'm not gonna lie, I think that's pretty cool. Like, you see this big giant mushroom cloud just erupt in the middle of this crowd, and you see Jacob, he's like, not another war. Yeah. Another war. And Grindelwald is using this imagery to scare people into joining his cause. Credence turns, which makes sense, honestly, because he's gullible. Breaks Nagini's heart, which, again, I didn't care for, but it does lead me to believe that she'll be sticking around for the next couple movies. And then, the big shock of the movie to me was when Queenie turns to Grindelwald's side. At first, I was like, wait a minute, where's this coming from? We saw that Queenie was kind of captured by the bad guys, and Grindelwald was starting to try to persuade Queenie to turn, but we didn't really get to see her mindset change. I felt like maybe she was in a trance or something, but then after really thinking about it, I can justify her turn, and here's how. I think it has something to do with her and Jacob and the situation regarding them getting married. I feel like, okay, Queenie turns to Grindelwald's side, and if Grindelwald achieves his goal, they can live in a world where wizards are free to do as they please, so she and Jacob can get married. When I look at it like that, it actually makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's sad because Queenie's such a likable character. Will she ever come back to the good side? I don't know. Honestly, at this point, I don't know if she and Jacob will get their happy ending, and I like that. And then Lea Lestrange makes a sacrifice that I frankly did not give a shit about. Because she looks to Theseus. Holy crap, I forgot to mention Theseus. Yeah, Newt's brother is in the movie, and I didn't really care about him either. So, alright, that's a thing. But Lea looks to Theseus, she's like, I love you, and then she follows Grindelwald into his big blue fire ring, and then she burns up and dies. But who knows, maybe she'll come back, you know, because Credence and Jacob both did. I mean, the movie showed her starting to burn up, so I presume she's dead, but you don't know for sure. And after that whole big visual effects moment, which I thought was really awesome with the blue fire dragons, I mean, come on, those are cool. The Niffler finds that blood pact thing. Okay, let's talk about that blood pact thing, because that's another aspect of this story that I'm kind of torn on. I guess back in their youth, Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald, they made a blood pact to never fight or harm each other. And that pact was sealed in this little pennant. Grindelwald had it, which means he must still care for Dumbledore in some way. But then the Niffler grabs it, gives it to Newt, who then returns it to Dumbledore. So Newt is like, can you destroy it? Dumbledore's just like, maybe. I got a strong feeling that an image of that thing shattered is gonna be like a teaser poster for the last movie of the series. It's just way too easy to pass up. Symbolism, that thing's broken, now they're gonna fight. Teaser poster 2024. And that's where we leave the good guys. Newt and Dumbledore are gonna hang out now. I wanna see them team up. I don't care what they do, I just wanna see them team up in the next movie because I feel like a Newt and Dumbledore team up would be really cool. But then the last scene of the movie takes place at that Nurmengard castle where, for you Potterheads, you know this, that is where Grindelwald built his prison to capture his enemies. You see it briefly in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 at the end. And then you have the big reveal about Credence. His real name, his true identity is Aurelius Dumbledore. He is apparently another brother of Albus Dumbledore and Aberforth. To which I'm like, huh? No. That makes zero sense. Absolutely does not make sense. You're retconning. J.K. Rowling, you're retconning. Stop it. I hate it when people retcon. Albus Dumbledore only had two siblings, Aberforth and Ariana. What the hell is this Aurelius bullshit? Then I read one of the fan theories that, oh, maybe Aurelius is an adopted Dumbledore sibling. Well, okay, that's the only way probably I could ever let this slide. So it looks like Credence, aka Aurelius Dumbledore, is going to be a wizard after all, and a powerful one at that. And that's where the movie leaves off. So alright. In the end, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald had things I liked and did not like about it. That's why I gave it my middle rating, my discount rating. We'll have to see where this goes. I want to see Newt and Dumbledore team up. I want more relevance with the characters I didn't care about in this movie, like Nagini. But the honest truth is, there's a world of difference between being a good novelist and being a good screenwriter. J.K. Rowling, she's a fantastic novelist. She writes great books. I don't have to tell you that. She's not a great screenwriter. I think that's the biggest problem with both the movies, frankly. And I love the first one, it's great. But even its script, I felt, could have been better. I frankly think they need to get a better screenwriter on this shit. A more experienced one. Because honestly, the fate of this series depends on it. But in all honesty, I did enjoy this movie. I've seen it a couple times. And I do want to see where the story goes from here. It's gonna get more epic. And that big climactic duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, I just feel is gonna be super awesome. So, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. What was your favorite thing about the movie? And what was your least favorite thing about the movie? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.